The wind cut across the driveway like a quiet warning, sharp enough to make anyone pull their coat tighter. But the woman sitting on the cold concrete didn't move. Her arms circled her legs, her hair tangled against the wind, her eyes far away, almost empty. When Michael stepped out of his house that morning in Denver, Colorado, ready to take his daughter to school, he never expected to see a stranger collapse near his garage like she had no place left in the world to stand. His daughter, Anna, tugged on his coat with trembling fingers. She looked up at him, her voice barely a whisper but heavy enough to shake something deep inside him. "Daddy, help her." It was the kind of plea too pure to ignore, the kind only a child's heart could make. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and helping those who fall, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Michael felt something stir in his chest, a mix of concern, hesitation, and a strange urge to understand who this woman was and why she was sitting on his property, looking so lost. He moved closer, and with each step, her pain became clearer. Her shoes were worn, not dirty but tired, like they had walked too far. Her coat was clean but thin, not enough for the cold morning. And her eyes looked like someone who had held on for too long and finally ran out of strength. Her name, he would soon learn, was Grace, a name that fit the story that would unfold in ways he never could have imagined. Michael had his own past. A divorce 3 years ago had reshaped his world, turning him into a single dad balancing everything: Anna's school, his job as a local electrician, the late nights of loneliness he never spoke of. He understood what it meant to hurt, to start over, to hold yourself together for the sake of a child. But Grace's pain felt different, it felt heavier, like life had pushed her to the very edge. When she finally looked up at him, her eyes shimmered with something that wasn't quite tears, it was the shine of someone ashamed of breaking in front of others. She apologized softly, telling him she just needed a place to sit for a moment, that she was okay, that she didn't want to cause trouble. But her voice trembled, betraying her words. People can lie with their mouths, Michael thought, but not with their eyes. He asked if she was hungry, and though she shook her head, her silence spoke louder. Anna slipped her small hand into the woman's, a gesture that made Grace flinch with surprise before her face softened, like she hadn't felt a gentle touch in a long time. He invited her inside for a warm drink, something simple, nothing that would frighten her. Grace hesitated, you could tell it had been a while since she trusted anyone. But Anna's hopeful smile was hard to resist. Inside the house, warm light and the smell of fresh coffee seemed to wrap around her. She sat at the kitchen table, her fingers tracing the edge of the mug as if grounding herself. Michael didn't pry. He didn't ask why she was outside, what she had lost, or where she had come from. Instead, he let silence do the work, letting her feel safe enough to breathe. Eventually, Grace spoke. She had lived in Colorado Springs, working as an assistant manager at a hotel. But life unraveled quickly after she lost her father, the only family she had left. Grief took her energy, then her job, then her apartment. She had been doing everything to stay afloat, but the world had a way of hitting hardest when someone was at their weakest. She wasn't homeless in the way people imagine, it was more painful than that. She had been living out of her car for 2 weeks, trying to find work, but this morning something inside her finally collapsed. The pressure. The loneliness. The exhaustion. And when she parked near Michael's driveway to rest, her strength simply gave out. Michael listened, not with pity, but with the kind of understanding only someone who had tasted heartbreak could offer. Anna sat beside Grace, as if protecting her. The little girl's presence brought a softness to the room, a reminder that innocence still existed even when life felt cruel. Michael felt an ache in his chest. This woman wasn't dangerous, she wasn't unstable, she was someone who had run out of places to stand. Grace didn't ask for help. She never begged. She just shared her truth with quiet dignity, and somehow that made her pain even more real. Michael knew he couldn't just let her walk back out into the cold. He offered her a shower, a warm meal, and a chance to rest. She resisted out of pride, out of fear, but eventually allowed herself a moment of mercy. As days passed, Grace's presence became familiar. She helped around the house without being asked, cooked meals, and even braided Anna's hair before school. Slowly, the shadows in her eyes began to lift. Michael found himself looking forward to hearing her laugh, something soft and rare, but more beautiful because of how hard it had been for her to find it again. She didn't stay as a guest, she stayed as someone rebuilding a life, piece by fragile piece. Michael helped her apply for jobs, drove her to interviews, and watched her confidence return with each passing day. Grace found part-time work first, then full-time. She saved money, regained her footing, and stood again, not on his driveway, weak and lost, but on her own feet, steady and strong. But the truth is, something else grew quietly between them. Not love at first sight, but love born from kindness, healing, and patience. Anna adored Grace, and Michael, he felt a warmth he hadn't felt in years. Not loneliness. Not burden. Hope. Months later, on a gentle spring evening, Grace confessed that the day she fell apart outside his home, she had felt like giving up. But Anna's whispered, "Daddy, help her," became the line that saved her life. A child's compassion had reached deeper than any adult's judgment ever had. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us spread kindness through powerful real-life stories. Before the ending, please comment below. Kindness can save lives. Grace never forgot the day she was sitting on the cold ground, thinking she had nothing left. And Michael never forgot the moment his little girl reminded him that the smallest acts of compassion can change the entire direction of someone's life. Their story became one of healing, family, and unexpected new beginnings, a reminder that sometimes the people who need help the most are the ones sitting quietly, hoping someone will notice their brokenness. And because one little girl whispered for her father to help, Grace was no longer alone.